Hi everyone, I'm Tom Slivick and I'm with Supervisor Richard Forster. Hello Supervisor, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you doing today?
Good, good. And I want to tell the people that we'll be talking today, we're getting a pre-agenda report, and you're going to tell us what the subjects are, and then we're going to come back and discuss them.
Yeah, we just have an appeal of the 1530 requirements from a couple that live over in the Shenandoah Valley. And then we have a report from General Services Administration on 108 Court Street, which is the old county building, Board of Supervisors and court building. And then we'll talk about the grand jury report for 2011-12, our responses to that. We have California State Association of Counties appointments by our board. And then secure rural schools reauthorization, so allocation of that money.
Okay, well, you heard what we'll be talking about, so stay with us right here on TSPN. That's interesting. You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to TSPN's News Today. We have Supervisor Richard Forster, and he's going to give us a pre-agenda report.
Well, actually, the agenda.
What's on the agenda report, right?
What's on the agenda report? We have Fred and Barbara Daskowski. Now, they live in San Diego right now. They are building a house, and it's a long dream they've had. They've been trying to go back and forth between Amador County and Shenandoah Valley since 1989. They've paid for both properties now, and they want to finalize it. Well, they got a road in place. They're building a house. They're building a garage. They want to be able to put things in the garage now. I think it's this garage is separate from the house. They want to be able to put things in the garage to ease up on their rental costs in San Diego. Now the discussion is, will our building department final the garage and allow them to do that before the 1530 requirements are done? They need about $8,000 to $10,000 of paving, and the way it works, based on elevation of your road, there are certain places that go over a certain grade percentage, and when that happens, you need to do something to remediate that. Most of the time, you pave instead of taking off more dirt. Right. So what their concern is, and their contractor's recommending also, don't pave until we get all the heavy equipment work done, because it'll ruin the $8,000 to $10,000 of paving. So far, it looks like our Public Works Department was in agreement with that. It looks like they believe they have had agreements to this point, and our building department now is saying, no, the paving needs to be done before anything is final. So that decision will come to our board.
You wouldn't know if they have their well in or not yet, do you?
They do have a well in. Okay. They got a water tank in. Okay. He formerly worked for CAL FIRE, so one of his concerns is fire safety. I was
just wondering, because there's probably nothing as heavy as the well drilling apparatus thing that goes up. That'll break everything up. Right,
but they're still concerned that some of the heavy equipment is still up there, and that if they drive over those sections to be paved, it'll just ruin it and have to be redone. We'll see tomorrow what our board says about that, but the big thing there is these people, it looks like they may have been told one thing at some points along the way, and now they're being told something differently. I don't know if that's the case. We'll have our department people in tomorrow. The old courthouse up on Court Street. This is 108 Court Street, and I know it says in here what used to be a grand building at one time. Well, what used to be is a long time ago now. Basically, we moved out of that courthouse for ADA reasons. We wanted to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. We were being sued over that. Built a new courthouse, built a new county administration center. Now this building is mothballed. The problem is that it's mothballed and having significant problems now with drainage. The roof is starting to deteriorate in some areas. The structure is more of a not a typical roof. It's for a large building like that, it is, where it's more of a membrane type of roofing, and the membrane's starting to crack in different areas. Because of that, it's causing leaking. Because of that, it's causing damage to the interior of the building. Tiles are starting to fall. Mold is a big issue that people are worried about. But another big issue here is the paint on the building is all starting to fall off. Because of that, around the windows and things like that, some of the windows now are not even functioning because the rain has permeated where it should be paint now, and it's caused everything to warp, and we're having
So it sounds like it has a lot of water damage already.
It all has damage already, but it's not too late to go in and stop that. Problem is how much it's going to cost. And the problem is we have not allocated a bunch of money to that building. It's been mothballed. We're probably never going to use that building again.
We don't have a use for it. The county doesn't know what it would be used for.
We don't have a use, and in this economy, it doesn't appear that there's a big need for it out there by anyone, or no one has a brainstorm of ideas of what to do. And even if somebody goes in, and it's going to require significant work to bring that building up to a place where it meets ADA requirements, I don't think it's going to be considered a historic building. And that's a problem because of no designation for historic, it's not going to meet those exemptions from ADA or anything else. So it does not have an elevator. It's got issues, and now it's our issue to deal with.
Many people come forward already and talk to you at all about that it is. I mean, it's historic. It's been changed not quite a few times, but it used to look quite different. It was two buildings made into one, and then put an Art Deco facade on it.
And that's part of the problem. Our previous consultant who looked at the building, he was a historic person, and his business is rotating around that. But once they put that stucco and made it Art Deco in appearance, you can never come back and recapture those bricks to what they were before. So that's a problem. If we could take it back to just brick like the old courthouse was, then it'd be beautiful. But what do you do with it now? It's an eyesore up there. It's becoming a problem for City of Jackson. I mean, nobody wants that kind of a building in their city. So we have to do something to remediate the things that are going on with that building.
Okay. What's up next?
We have the final grand jury report, our responses to that. Predominantly, these responses are from our Health and Human Services Department. So our director there has made the responses, and the board concurs with his responses. And mostly they revolve around the conservator's office and about behavioral health and transportation of some clients, the safety of employees. A lot of it revolves around how many employees can we afford to have right now. One of the recommendations is you should have 2 more employees to deal with that situation. Well, correctly, our director there says we can't afford 2 more employees. So while the grand jury makes good recommendations sometimes, they make recommendations that we cannot concur with because in this case it's going to be cost. Just can't do it. So they're common sense recommendations. We appreciate what they're saying, but who's going to come up with the money? Everybody knows the state of the state right now, and it's just making our situation worse. We have the California State Association of Counties. I believe Chairman Boitano wants to serve again in that capacity as the delegate on the California State Association of Counties. Supervisor Novelli has been the alternate. He got that from me a couple years ago, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
What does that association deal with?
Well, it's 58 counties, deals with state policy, deals with lobbying for all kinds of issues that come down from the state that we have to deal with. If we don't like what's coming down from the state, then we fight some of those. But more than likely, we try and work with the governor and his administration. You know, sometimes you absolutely cannot.
Does every county have members on that?
Every county should have members on it. I believe they do, from all 58 counties. Okay. And they make recommendations on propositions also, as we're going to talk about with RCRC in a little bit, some of the recommendations. But this organization is really good for making coalitions, alliances in the state, so you can see what other people are doing. Sometimes you don't need to recreate the wheel. You can get good ideas from other counties.
Exactly. Right.
And then we have a public utility easement abandonment up in the Kirkwood area. This has been pretty standard. They're doing work up there, and hard to fit some of those structures they're building within their building site with the easements in place. And then the Secure Rural Schools reauthorization, we're going to make a decision on that. I know the Sheriff's Department will request money for search and rescue activities. And then the Fire Safe Council is requesting money there again, primarily for activities related to helping people make their homes fire-wise, fire-safe, and also going to request the conclusion of some of the Sherwood Forest and some of the other areas that programs have been done in. There are some complications here, and we might have to talk about that in a little bit.
We have a couple minutes.
Okay.
What about the upcountry, the high country fire plan? Are we developing a plan for that?
Well,
is there a plan being
within this, they have Firewise community strategies for keeping your community safe. Now, some of theirs that have been done in the past, they had the High Country Community Wildfire Protection Plan, the Pioneer Volcano Plan. There are a couple now where there could be potential problems. The Fiddletown Community Wildfire Protection Plan. Now you have to work in coordination with the federal government on that, basically with the U.S. Forest Service. The problem is you need to be within a certain proximity of U.S. Forest Service to have this money be eligible. It appears that some of the money for the High Country, for Fiddletown, Pioneer Volcano, some of those plans may not be eligible based on their proximity to U.S. Forest Service public ground.
Okay. And, all right, that sounds pretty good. So that's on the agenda tomorrow. When's the board meet? At what time?
At 9 o'clock at the County Administration Building. Most of the time, meetings are done very quickly by at least 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. All right. And we'll be back with more with Supervisor Richard Forster after this break. You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.